Welcome to another Modern Mind Ancient Book, where we are going back to move forward, refining a love for the law, the prophets, and the writings. If you'd like to reach out to us, please feel free at modernmindancientbook@gmail.com. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on YouTube or anywhere else, please offer feedback. We'd really appreciate it. It helps us get the word out. Today we have with us Nick. How you doing today?
Great. Ever more polished with that introduction. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Yes,
And Pete, welcome.
Good evening, shalom.
My name's Roger. I'll be your host. We are going to do today the book of Philemon.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that pronunciation.
Yeah.
This is the first book that is addressed to a Gentile.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, and it's actually quite interesting because the name Philemon is correct, I think, in
Right.
Greek. Philemon
Okay.
is associated actually with the Greek mythology. So Philemon and Baucis were people that he was a woodcutter. They lived in a little town, and I can't remember the name of the city or the place now, but the Greek Most High God Zeus and Hermes
Right.
stopped by their house pretending to be weary travelers. So it's kind of cool how this works because they practiced hospitality and they brought them in, and because of that they were given a much larger estate, and it became like a temple, right? And then they were granted to stay together forever. They became two separate trees that intertwined with one another. And so, Zeus is the most high in the pantheon,
Right.
and Hermes is a son of Zeus.
Right.
And he's also the messenger god. And he's the one who escorts the dead to Hades. There's a fair amount of overlap. Because these stories are ancient, it's actually not offensive. It's quite interesting because it's kind of like this eternity in their hearts thing.
Right.
So, interestingly, also, the Greek mythology, Philemon and Baucis were saved from a terrible flood because of their kindness to, in this case, the gods. And Hermes confused the language of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Kind of sound familiar there.
Right. There's a lot of myth overlap.
Yep. And that's why this book is also a very tactical book, because you're taking a Greek mythology, a story that everybody knows, and I'm sure, Philemon was very aware of what his name meant, right? That he practiced hospitality, that there was a divine connection, and so, taking this name, this person, and converting them to the way was actually relatively easy, because for him, probably the lights turned on. Boom, right? He realized, he was like, oh, Hermes led us to this the real messenger, the real son of God, the real, right? Because all these shadows were already in place through the story. So at least that's the way I see these old stories. I think, the pre-flood stories filtered through all of the cultures.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Mesopotamian way, the Sumerian way, was the way that created modern culture. And that greatness filtered into every single society.
Right.
And so, that's the way I see it. The Greek culture is way after the Sumerian culture, right? But it's the same thing. It's these mighty men of old.
Yeah.
They were men gods, right?
Right.
It's the same story.
Yeah.
Just has its cultural twist to it. It's the competing themes, right?
Right.
So these stories aren't necessarily claims of truth as much as they are claims of whom do you serve.
Right.
Do you live under the kingdom of Zeus? Do you live under the kingdom of Baal? Do you live under the kingdom of Yahweh? Do you live under the kingdom of Marduk? But all of them have really kind of similar stories, right? A lot of overlap in it. So I just find that really interesting that the first Greek that we find was the same, or the first book to a Greek that we find is the very same name who gave hospitality to the Most High God and His Son.
Right.
It's kind of cool, neat story. So here we've got the book of Philemon, and it's the smallest epistle in the book, in the entire Bible, but not at all lacking. There's a lot of detail in here. There's a lot of interesting things in here. There's a lot of play on words. What does Onesimus mean? Do you remember, Pete?
Not offhand.
Okay. What about you? You got that, Nick?
No.
Onesimus means useful,
Okay.
right? And what did he do to Philemon? He ran away and became useless. And then Paul says, well, just remember that he's useful and forgive him, right? Because he's been useful to me. So there's all these play on words. So these guys are really, really intelligent people. If you actually break these books down, so Philemon was one that we had to do because it's the smallest book. We had to do sort of relationships and how it plays out in school. So we had to take the whole book apart and create the ideas. And this book was hard to do. It was really hard to do. This is a deep thinker book.
Yeah.
There are people who write thousands of pages on Philemon.
Much longer than
Yeah, and it's
In
like
the
4
book
chapters.
itself, yeah.
So don't be fooled by it being so small. If you get into the backstory, the story, the philosophy, the theology, the relationship, the usefulness, the tacticalness of the story. I mean, this book is really a phenomenal little letter. So, Philemon, a Greek, a Gentile, was given this letter. He seems to be an elder or other significant church leader in the church in Colossae. So, what have we been talking about? How the church is being
switched from a Jewish sect, basically, to not only include the Gentiles,
but
to
become
have
leadership.
them to be leadership.
Yeah. So Gentiles are becoming leaders in the church.
And not becoming Jewish.
Well, I would say
Totally. Still
there's
retaining some of the
there's
Gentile.
a certain part of I'm grasping for a word here, but give and take in this thing, right? Because if God says it's, remember the Peter thing, right? Peter sees the sheet, and he says, "Never would I."
Right.
And God says, "Peter, go kill and eat."
Right.
But it wasn't about Peter eating that food. It was about Peter going into a proselyte's house.
Yeah.
Who is Gentile, and sitting with them at a table.
Right.
That's not something Jews did, or
No.
it's not a thing. So there's a tension, right? And this tension has been forming, and the tension has been working its way through these books and through this time. And so it's really quite amazing to find this letter, and it's also very tactical, right? Because it's like the shortest letter. But it's the first letter written to a Gentile. So, it's kind of like not offensive. It's like, okay, look, I can see like Paul thinking, right? He's like, okay, I got to address this Gentile church leader because, Onesimus has been really useful to me, but he's not useful to him. This is really playing out. Anyways, so I don't want to offend the synagogue leaders either. Let's just make this all. There's a plan in this thing, right? So it's cool. It's just an amazing letter, and it's especially significant when you see it in the context of the church beginning to just have this influx of non-Jewish, what do you call it? When your people are a thing. non-natural Jewish or
Okay. I didn't know where you were going with
okay.
that.
yeah. Anyways, they're Gentile, not Jewish. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
These people weren't born into this. They're coming into it. They're becoming church leaders. There's a play on words. There's a whole history in the back of this. Philemon and Baucis, Zeus and Hermes, and the story. How that actually kind of converts to this and adds meaning to it. Now it's really just an interesting play.
They're not nationalists for Israel. They're from other cultures.
Yeah, and well, see, that's the important part of Jesus, though, right? Because the Jewish Davidic Messiah teaches the world Torah.
Yes.
He brings everybody into the covenant. And so you can see this happening even though there's this odd tension and there's this odd give and take in it. That's what I believe was supposed to happen, right? That the church was supposed to become one new man under the purified the purified Judaism of Jesus. Now, did we fail that? Yeah, we failed that pretty bad. But at this point, you can see the change and how it takes place. And for the discerning learner, it's actually really important to realize that the way we break the covenant is the same way we watched historically Israel break the covenant, and the people around them break the covenant. You know, so it's just what we do, right?
Like Solomon said, nothing new under the sun.
No, because this world, sin entered through the fall, and so did just disobedience, really.
Oh yeah.
Right? We didn't get the training we should have had, you know? So, okay, Philemon, church leader, Gentile church leader. Really cool, interesting development. Aids in my, kind of hypothesis, right, as we're running through these things. So, he was dedicated to the ministry of Jesus. He was dedicated to it. But Paul was not one to give out like compliments or accolades without validity, right? This man had become useful. It's credible to understand that Aphia was the wife of Philemon, and Archippus was probably his son. So it's just the people that it was written to, right? Much can be gleaned from Philemon from this epistle. He was a man of godly character and strong faith. He had the sort of character that the Philemon of the story had. He was generous, right? He was a generous man. Although he owned slaves, as did most wealthy Romans in the day, he treated them with Christian kindness. He was a generous man, and that's what's being called on by him. He's saying, well, just remember the culture, and it's kind of cool because Paul's playing both sides of this, right? He's like, the Jesus that you're supposed to be serving, who made himself nothing and became obedient to death on a cross, and rose from the dead. Oh, and your name, Philemon, that you're supposed to be generous. Remember that? Well, Onesimus may be useless to you, but he's useful.
Right.
That's his name. So take him back. Treat him well. Don't hold this against him. Because, and then Paul commands it of him.
Yeah.
Right? So just an interesting play on things. And this is also, if you're a discerning Christian, right? If you're a discerning listener, then, what are we really getting at here? Was slavery how we imagine it for them?
At times,
sure.
Not in this case.
Yeah,
not
in this particular case. Well, that's what I'm getting at, right? It's this particular book was slavery as we imagined it, right? So people weren't stolen from an African land, put on a boat, brought, right? That's not how this is. Greek slavery was, so it was conquered people, or it was you just couldn't pay your bills and you kind of sold yourself into that.
Sort of
indentured servitude. And so, is it right? No, right? Is this condemnation of slavery? No, not really, right? And that's what people kind of have a problem with, I guess. But the new world is coming, right? And that's the overarching theme of all this. So, Paul is not himself being in prison, about to be murdered. He's not going to overcome slavery, right? What's he going to do? Scream louder and get his head cut off quicker?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Instead, this is the long game, right? Because the kingdom is now, not yet. The idea is now, not yet. Is there no slave in God's kingdom? Yes, there are no slaves. God didn't create people to be slaves.
Right.
He created us to be autonomous, loved by Him, and loving Him.
Right.
That's
Right.
it, right? No ifs, ands, or buts about creation.
Similar to me is how you talked about, they expected Jesus to overthrow Rome, and
Yeah.
he did, but not the way they thought.
Not the way they
and
thought.
Gradually, so why didn't the Christians overthrow slavery? They did.
We did, eventually.
Eventually.
Right? We got there. It just, the human heart is so deceitfully wicked.
Yeah.
Right? You couldn't, the United States had a horrible war. Hundreds of thousands of people. Because we fought. But, just evil is evil. It's evil, it's everywhere, it exists, right? But Paul is saying, just treat this man like he's useful.
Right.
He's good for us. Even though he did a horrible thing in escaping his master. There's a lot of grace in this story. Okay, so he did own slaves, as Romans did in the day, but he did, he was kind, right? He was a generous man who was ready to help others. He hosted a church in his home, which was large enough to accommodate meetings and traveling preachers. He was probably introduced to Jesus by Paul. He showed hospitality to others. That's that story, right? The play, right?
Yeah.
So when Paul thought of Philemon, it was a refreshing and soul-restoring ministry. A man who is known to love God and be ruled by the Spirit. The date of this epistle to Philemon is directly connected to the dating of the epistle to Colossians, since these two letters, as well as Ephesians, were delivered by the same couriers. Paul had written this epistle during his imprisonment in Rome, and he was there for 2 years, from AD 61 to 63. Who are the recipients, Nick?
So the major recipient would obviously be Philemon, and a larger audience would be his family and the church that met in his home. So Paul composed the letter while he was in prison, and Philemon lived in the region of Colossae, as we said. So it was how would you pronounce it?
Phrygian.
Phrygian? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if the Y was a Y sound or not. Okay. So Phrygian city that was on the main road from the eastern travel routes to the city of Ephesus. And so here we're talking about the tactical thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? It's always, we've got the common theme here is almost harkening back to how all of the prophets, almost all of the prophets I should say, had something about Yahweh in their names. It's
Right.
like, you see these things. And
Yeah.
it starts to become a pattern that you pick up on. So,
Yeah, which is why I pointed that out, right?
right.
Like God is so infiltrating this culture right now,
And
right?
consistent in how exact he is. Right?
Yeah,
In his
it is very tactical.
Yep.
But totally playing the story out. I mean, like it's good stuff. So
basically, it's him and his family and,
Yeah.
and his friends, people that he
Friends.
knows.
Right.
yeah, and anybody who would get to know. I bet you, if I were Philemon, I would do a sermon on how this was a precursor to who this really is. Right?
Right.
We were taught about a Most High God. We were taught about His Son. We were taught about the messenger. We were taught about the one who can go to Hades and come out.
Right.
Meet Jesus. This is who the true one is. My name is Philemon. I was named after this. I know, right? I would totally preach that story. It'd be great.
He almost did.
But let's do it. Let's go to Greek and find somebody who worships Zeus, So, just totally cool, really neat. So, how do you want to read Philemon, Pete?
Imagine that you're a wealthy landowner and businessman in a thriving region of Colossae. You gotta remember he was above educated compared to most people at that time.
Well, he was in a very good place.
Right.
Right?
And he had a lot of interaction as a wealthy man with different ideas from different cultures.
Is it evil to be wealthy?
No.
No, God uses it, right?
Right. Your business has grown over the years and is now expanding to your trade throughout the Roman Empire.
Yeah, he was on the main road.
And we gotta remember the Roman Empire went from India all the way to England,
Yeah, very wealthy.
Western Europe.
Yeah,
Western Europe.
very large.
You have several servants who are administrate different aspects of your business. Cheap labor, basically.
We're doing it today, aren't we?
Yes.
You
You have sent one slave by the name of Onesimus on a very important commercial trip to complete some transactions for you. This is a very important trip since he is entrusted with much of your money. As time passes, you learn that Onesimus is living it up on your money and traveling about the major cities in Rome.
Never reached his destination.
Never reached his destination.
Yeah, he didn't do so good.
No.
Yeah.
And he also stole from Philemon. Actual theft, not just ran away.
Like I said, a lot of grace in this one.
Yes.
Yeah. So Philemon finds out that he's in prison in Rome.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's interesting because while he was there, and I mean, this is a testimony to the gospel,
Yeah.
right? The man does all the wrong things,
Right.
runs into Paul, finds out that what he did was wrong, repents, hates who he was, becomes useful to the ministry, becomes useful to God, and lives out his name. Right? So tactical. And then Paul gets to reach back out into the ether of the world
Right.
that he has been a major part being an apostolic leader and say, remember forgiveness?
Yep.
Remember your name, Philemon? How gracious, how entertaining you are? Well, I've got Onesimus here. Whatever his debt is, wipe it out. I paid for it. And, I mean, bold move, Cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Paul really wasn't joking with Onesimus in this.
Yeah.
This-
Under Roman law, Philemon, after Paul said that, Philemon tried to come after Paul for the money.
That's right, yeah, because he legally took it
He
upon
legally
himself.
took it on him.
Being a Roman citizen.
Yes.
He put his neck out for this
Yes.
guy, right? It really is, there's so much in this book.
Right.
When we get to it, when we go through the story, we'll really go through the story. So you're handed a letter from the Apostle Paul. That's what happened to Philemon, right? But you're angry with the Onesimus and you want to judge him.
Find out he's in prison, you go, good!
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
Now I can hold him accountable for that money he
Right.
took and for running away. I thought I could trust him. I
Right.
couldn't. He's useless. But you see a change in Onesimus. And you're asked to read this
Right.
letter. It was Onesimus that delivered the letter.
Right.
So you've been told that Onesimus has become a Christian. You and all the church are concerned about Paul since you knew he had been imprisoned. And you read this epistle so you might know of Paul's condition and how to pray for him. You wonder what Paul has to say about Onesimus and what advice he has for you. And that's what you get. That's exactly what you get from this. What's the key verse on this one, Nick?
For perhaps he, Onesimus, was for this reason separated from you, Philemon, for a while, that you would have him back forever, no longer as a slave, but more than a slave, a beloved brother, especially to me, but how much more to you, both in the flesh and in the Lord. If then you regard me a partner, accept him as you would me.
See, a slave, not a slave,
Right.
right? It's all there.
Right.
All the theology's right.
Yeah.
Did it change the culture as a whole?
Not immediately.
No.
No, it changed one man.
Yes.
But that's how real change starts.
Right.
Yep. So why did Christians allow for slavery? Well, just read Philemon.
If the world
Yeah.
was perfect, we'd still be back in Eden.
That's
That's
right.
a weird question. Anyway.
Well, people get so angry about
know,
this, right?
right.
They act like I don't know.
It's just a pet issue thing. That's why it's
Right.
weird to me.
Yeah.
We could pick on all the evil in the world, but it's that one. It seems
Well,
to
the
me.
Bible didn't condemn it. You know, it's
Yeah.
But
Except it was used as a basis to overthrow it.
yeah, you're not wrong. Over time, it did.
Yeah.
Right? The Roman Empire and all of its slavery fell.
Right.
And then slavery all over the earth, wherever Christian nations are, has fallen too. For those who practice Christianity,
Yeah.
anyways. So, you know, God is good. Yes, there is sanction for evil because people are evil and the new kingdom is not arisen. It's not here in total yet. But as you can see, when the theology is properly placed, the slave becomes the master.
Right.
Because he said, treat Onesimus like me.
Right.
Paul was an apostle.
Right.
So, you know, read it and weep. Argument.
The argument is Paul requests that Philemon should accept Onesimus back, as he would accept Paul, and change Onesimus' debt to his account. Also, Onesimus really put his life on the line when he took this letter back.
Oh,
because he could have been killed the moment he walked in on Philemon.
Yeah, I was going to say that was one of those.
It would have been legal to kill him.
Dropped the letter and rung the doorbell and
Right.
found your favorite friend servant in the house and gave it to them and say, hey, I'm going to be out in the field. Just bring a bow out. If you shoot it and you tell the servant that it's way beyond him, then I'll know that it's not favorable. You know, like the David story or something.
Yep.
But you know, that's not what happened. This man trusted in God's fealty and loyalty because he believed that God could cause a miracle.
Right.
And it did happen.
Yep.
He was no longer a slave, but a free man, a beloved brother, and similar or the same as the apostle.
Right.
Because Paul said, you're doing this.
Sometimes you just got to present it that way.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a great little book. I enjoy it. So the purpose for this one is to encourage Philemon to accept Onesimus and charge his debt to Paul's account in light of their salvation. To ask Philemon to prepare lodging and to ask Philemon to prepare lodging for Paul's visit. I love this. So Philemon is you who are beyond hospitable, right? So Paul requests that the one who is very, very hospitable should accept the one who's useful.
Right.
I mean, what do you do with that, right? Like, that's my name. Okay, I get it. You know, I can live up to it. Onesimus, I don't like it, right? But I guess you are useful. And then Onesimus says, I'm sorry. I repented, right? I will stay here. I will be fair. I will be faithful. I will treat you well. And I'm really sorry for what I did. In Jesus' name. And then they both go, cool, man.
Right.
Welcome back. You know, it's the restoration.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ask for a better reality than that. This is a wonderful book. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for the book of Philemon. Tiny little letter with lots of meaning. If you are feeling froggy, go do a reading on this. And you can spend weeks and weeks in these chapters if you want. We're going to get there eventually. We're on to phase 2 soon, where we're going to do the storied approach to the Bible. So we're almost past the date, authorship, all that kind of thing.
Right.
And when we get there, we're going to eventually get to this book, and we will talk about it. So thanks for joining us, boys. Really appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
May the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you and turn his countenance toward you and bring you peace. We look forward to hearing from you. Please like, comment, and subscribe.